Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to present some information and I want to see how people process this information after I present it. So here's the scenario, or maybe I'll present a number of different scenarios. I want to ask how the majority of you would respond to a person that has broken into your house. Now, this is going to sound awful, y'all. When I say these things, it's going to sound awful, but these are examples that I'm giving, okay? These are examples that many have experienced already in real life, but for the sake of this video, I want to and I need to present these examples. So, the first one is, if someone broke into your house, stole everything you had, including your family, took your family away from you, whether they physically removed them from the house or they just took their lives, killed them tragically, brutally, and you were left alive, left to deal with the anxiety, the hurt, the pressure, the sorrow, the grief, all of this. The pressure, every emotion that would attach or be attached to such an event. Now, this person that did these things, they are still walking about freely, okay? Or, let's just say this. Let's say some time has gone by, maybe some decades, and everything that has been taken from you, stolen from you, and even the property, the home that you lived in, okay? Let's just say all of that is still in the possession of the family, okay? Of the person, the relatives of the person who did these things to you. Now, they may be dead, okay? They're no longer here, but their family is living in your house, okay? All of your possessions, or let's say your grandparents. Let's just say everybody else has died and moved on, but everything that was stolen from your grandparents, all of their property, their home, and everything that was taken during this awful home invasion, life invasion, is now in the hands of the descendants of the person who did this awful thing to your family. You don't have any access to the home or the property. You've been pretty much driven from it, okay? Or should I say cut off from it because it was stolen from you. But the family of the person who did these awful things to you are still living in your family home, and they still have the possessions of your family in their possession, right? And let's just say you know about all of this. You know where the home is. You drive by there sometimes. You look at it. You wonder. You wish. And you say, wow, that home belongs to my great-grandparents. But I can't go in. I can't do anything. Right? So let's take it a step further. Let's say you write a news article about everything that happened to your family, what was taken from them, all of their possessions, those that were killed brutally. Let's say you even go beyond just writing a news article, but you do a video about it. Let's say you produce a movie about it. And the family or the descendants of the person who took all of this stuff from you, they get wind of the fact that you're talking about it, you're printing about it, you're writing about it, you're making movies about it, making songs about it, you're telling the story of what happened to your family. And you're even naming names and you're saying, the such and such family did this to us. And they are still living in our house located at such and such, such and such. I have no access to this property. They won't give it back. They are living large off of everything that my grandparents had, or my great-grandparents, whatever generation it was, okay? Because this is a hypothetical story that is very similar to very real-life events. Okay, so this family gets wind that you're talking about this. And you've even expressed the fact that you are angry about this, and you're upset, and you're hurt, and you can't get any peace because you have not been restored to your rightful place. So now this family and others that know them or are related to them or just friends, they're all starting to call you hateful. You are so hateful because you're talking about what happened a long time ago. You won't get over it. You're still talking about what happened to your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and your family that was killed, displaced, brutalized, tortured, all of this. You're talking about it. And you're talking about it with a voice of frustration, anger, and hurt. So now, the descendants of the people who did this to you are starting to call you hateful, bitter, unforgiving. And they're starting to say that you're the bad person. That you're this awful person who can't leave the past in the past. Even though you know and they know that they are still in possession of something that belonged to your family. But you're the evil, hateful one. You're the bitter one. You're the cold one. You're the unforgiving one. And that's them saying all of this about you. Now, we're even talking about not just the descendants. We're talking about people who know them or people who look like them. They agree with the descendants of the stolen property and the legacy of murder. They agree with them that you shouldn't be talking about all of this. That you are the one who are keeping a certain spirit alive. You are the one who highlights something so negative by not leaving it in the past. Okay, that's one scenario. I really don't need to give any other scenarios for the simple fact that it is very clear what I'm talking about here. Very clear. I'm going to give you one more, however. Let's just say you have a vehicle that you've spent a lot of money on, and you've taken care of this vehicle, and you've paid for it, you've kept it clean, you've kept it nice. But someone comes along and they take that vehicle from you. In the process of taking the vehicle from you, they destroy your life. They kill your family that was in the vehicle with you. They tie you up and take you to a place that you don't know anything about. Somehow you break free. But you're unable to get that vehicle back because they still have it in their possession. And you start telling everybody about it. You're saying, look, this person took my vehicle. They're still driving it around. They didn't just carjack me for my vehicle, but they killed my family too. I'm angry. I'm very bitter about this. I don't like what has happened. And then this person gets wind of the fact that you are talking about this. And they begin to tell people that you're just this angry, hateful, bitter person who won't leave the past in the past while they're still driving around in your vehicle. You're walking or catching the bus. Feet hurting, blisters on your toes, on the bottom of your feet, because you don't have any more transportation. But this person that's driving around in your vehicle gets wind of the fact that you're sharing your story with others about what they did to you. what they did to your family. And everyone starts to agree with the person who took what was yours in calling you this angry, bitter person that doesn't know how to leave the past in the past. So that gives you a feeling of, am I in the twilight zone? Is this real? There are things that have happened in this world to where some that have experienced these tragic events, or their ancestors have experienced such horrendous tragedies that some people can't even process it. Their mind can't comprehend the terror that their ancestors had to endure. It's incomprehensible because it is too hard to even fathom. That has happened in this world on so many levels. And individuals continue to be tortured by the fact that others want to disregard the pain and suffering that they have placed upon you. They want to leave it in the past. They want you to forget about it. And they paint you out to be this horrible person if you bring it to their remembrance or anyone else. And the hurtful thing about it for so many is the fact that you have a worldwide system that is there offering protection to the perpetrators of such horrendous crimes. Worldwide protection, meaning the world has participated, have become complicit in hiding the facts and the truth about these horrendous events that have happened in the past. The world is complicit. And so that leaves those who have been victimized by such events too many to even mention. It leaves them in a traumatic form or state of mind. A traumatic state of mind to where they are just existing. A traumatic state of mind to where their lives are only partially functioning. A partial functioning of existence, because they still have to deal with the pain and the suffering of the past that haunts them through their DNA. Likewise, you have those who are descendants of perpetrators of such crimes, who have things in their DNA as well. Lack of remorse. They feel no remorse to even repair the breach that has benefited them greatly. They feel no remorse for the pain and suffering. As a matter of fact, they want to erase the past and any present feelings that they have against or towards you or people like you. They feel like it was earned in today's time and that there is no connection to the past that can be brought up to validate your argument of a systematic trauma that has been inflicted upon so many. This is why it's a continuation of such things, because people do not want their past connected, their ancestors' past connected to today's events. See, on an individual basis, you can't hold a person's past against them if they have changed. What is change? Change is repentance. Change means turning away from what you used to be. But many of the descendants of people who have done such horrendous things, they have not changed. They may not be legally able to do some of the things that their ancestors have done, but psychologically they do the same thing. Psychologically, they still murder, lynch, and do all kinds of things because they know that they don't have a legal standing, although they are creating ways to do it. They are creating ways by declaring, I have a right to defend myself, and if I am in fear, I can do this and I can do that, and there's going to be a system in place to pick up the pieces and allow me to do the thing that I have desired to do. The Bible even talks about how hating someone It's a form of murder. So this is another way that they have been able to keep alive the legacy of their ancestors, but hide their hands and pretend not to be guilty. They hide their hands while continuing the same psychological damage through a system that aids and abets. Now, notice in this, I did not have to identify any racial group whatsoever, because history speaks for itself. History speaks for itself. I didn't have to declare anyone's color or race. But knowing true history is so very important that you can spit out the details. And it should resonate, the truth should resonate to exactly who is being talked about. Now, of course, we know many things were prophesied. We talk about this often. What we see is a direct fulfillment of prophecy. So if we believe and we have seen the fulfillment of this portion of prophecy, know for a certainty that other things that have been prophesied will come to pass as well. So those who think that they have gotten away with something as it relates to how they have treated others, remember the prophecy that is global and universal for everyone. You reap what you sow. Another very important element that I have to present in all of this information is the fact that the descendants of the victims are expected by the descendants of the perpetrators to not only forgive, but to forget and to love. Did y'all catch that? The descendants of the victims are expected to not only forgive the descendants of the perpetrators, but to forget and love. Now, I'm talking about descendants of perpetrators who are okay with what has happened. They're okay with being the beneficiaries of ill-gotten gains. They have no love or appreciation for the descendants or the people who have been victimized by their ancestors. They feel nothing. And they are the very ones who tell you to get over it. They say, get over it. In other words, they don't want to hear about it. But they also expect you as descendants to love, forget, and forgive. And they count you as hateful if you do not. Interesting. Now, another psychological thing that has been placed upon the descendants of victims is in the face of a continuation of certain things, in the face of a continuation of the hatred and the malice and the persecution. I'm talking about a modern day continuation. Many of the descendants have been tricked into believing that it is wrong and it is hateful to talk about the past. Now, right here, I'm talking about the descendants of victims. In other words, you're a descendant of slaves. It was your grandmothers who were raped, your grandfathers who were beaten, your ancestors who were tortured. It was them. But somehow your mind has been tricked into feeling that if you feel any type of hurt from that, any type of distrust, that you are somehow in the wrong, that you are the problem. You've been tricked into believing that. That is some tripped out sorcery. Some really tripped out sorcery for the victims or the descendants of victims or the continued victims of the descendants of perpetrators to believe that they are in the wrong if they for any reason feel any kind of way about what has happened to their ancestors and what continues to happen even to this day to descendants. They've been tricked. We've been tricked. And so this is some tripped out sorcery to believe that you have no right to feel anything about what has happened in the past, while you have everyone, every other racial group are able to remember what's happened to their ancestors. Everyone has a Holocaust except for us. Or should I say, everyone's Holocaust is to be commemorated, but not ours. They want you to remember everyone else's pain and suffering, but how dare you bring up your own? And so I would like to know, why is it that other groups are not being forced, pushed, and pressured to love those who have been a terror to them or their ancestors? Did y'all hear what I said? There is no pressure on any other group of people who have suffered through any type of Holocaust. No pressure on them to love people who have done horrendous things to their ancestors. Can someone explain to me why there is pressure on others, though? One group in particular. Why is there pressure? This, for me, is further proof of biblical prophecy, of what was said to happen to a certain group of people by certain groups of people and how they would all respond to it. It was prophesied that we were going to be cut off, or should I say that this group of people were going to be cut off from their history by the perpetrators and those who are confederate with them. Understand all of this. If you can understand and process all of what is happening, process it all, then you can understand why some are as frustrated as they are. Now, I do believe that certain feelings and emotions can be taken too far. I do believe that you can go overboard with certain feelings and emotions, because if you don't process it properly, it can result in harm to you physically, making you sick. But if you learn how to process this stuff properly, then you can redirect some of that anxiety that you feel into educating others properly, because there's also this push to squash the evidence of what has happened to us. That is, again, carrying out of biblical prophecy, to where it was said that they would try to cut us off, to where it was said that there would be an attempt to cut this group of people off from their history, that there will be no more remembrance of who they are, or should I say, who they were and still are. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I'm done with this. Let me know your comments below. What are your thoughts? If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, share and like this video. I would very much appreciate it. With that, I am out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.